Now, in a move that stunned the Washington political world, U.S. President Donald Trump has fired James Comey from his post as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The president told Comey in a blunt letter Tuesday that Comey is not able to effectively lead the bureau. Trump says he based his decision on separate letters written by Attorney General Jeff Sessions and his deputy Rod Rosenstein that called for Comey to be sacked over his handling of the investigation into the emails of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, whom Trump defeated in last November's election. But Democratic lawmakers led by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer are angrily alleging that Comey was dismissed in an effort to derail the FBI's investigation of alleged ties between Russia and members of Trump's presidential campaign.
We know the House is investigating Russian interference in our elections that benefited the Trump campaign. We know the Senate is investigating. We know the FBI has been looking into whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians, a very serious offense. Were these investigations getting too close to home for the president?
Now, some Republican lawmakers also expressed their anger and dismay over the president's firing of Comey. Comey was speaking to a group of FBI employees in California when he learned of his firing through television news reports. Hours later, he was taken by motorcade to a nearby airport to return to Washington. Some congressional Democrats called Trump's action Nixonian, a reference to President Richard Nixon's firing of officials investigating him during the Watergate scandal in the early 1970s. Well, CNN later reported that grand jury subpoenas were recently issued relating to the FBI's Russia probe seeking business records from associates of Michael Flynn, who Trump earlier had fired as national security advisor. Joining me now to help all of us get a better understanding of this seismic decision by President Trump is VOA National Correspondent Jim Malone. Jim, you know, I always count on you to kind of get a sense of things in Washington. Did you see this one coming?
No, I don't think a lot of people did, Vincent. Hit like a shockwave. Yeah. And I think not only were Democrats shocked and in some cases dismayed, even though they didn't have a great love for Comey based on his role with Hillary Clinton, but a lot of Republicans are expressing concern about the timing of this and what it means for the future of the ongoing investigations into any possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia.
Now, of course, the White House insists this has nothing to do with the investigation into Russia's interference. Why is nobody believing this?
Well, at the moment, I think they're looking at the reasons being given in the letter from the Justice Department to leading officials, talking about Comey's conduct with the Hillary Clinton investigation, but that was almost most of a year ago. Yeah. And so it's curious now, if he had wanted to relieve Comey, why not do it early in his administration? So Democrats are raising concerns that this is all about trying to sideline or quash the ongoing Russia investigation. The FBI is looking into it. There's no sign that's going to stop because that continues with career investigators, no matter what happens to Mr. Comey. And of course, Congress is looking into it in both the House and the Senate.
Now, how can integrity be maintained as far as the investigations continue? And what can the White House do, possibly, to kind of change the narrative here?
Democrats are asking for a special counsel. That's someone outside of the Justice Department leadership to lead the investigation. This has happened before in American history. It also happened during the Watergate scandal of the 1970s involving President Nixon, as you referenced earlier. Unfortunately, at that time, the chief investigator was actually fired at the orders of President Nixon, which created a lot of political problems for him. Now, the political appearances here are not great for the White House right now, so they are under the gun, so to speak, to explain how this is not related to any action on the Russia investigation.
And you said things like this have happened before, but someone actually, immediately this happened, wrote to me and said, doesn't the FBI director have any security of tenure?
Well, it is legal for the president to fire the FBI director for cause, so that is within his constitutional powers. But we should point out that traditionally, historically, the FBI director is seen as someone who is above political reproach, or at least should be. That's why they're nominated and serve generally 10-year terms. unless in this case, as we saw with Comey, he's been fired by Mr. Trump. Now it's up to the president to nominate a replacement, but that person has to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate.
Now, this plane, this White House plane took off, just over 100 days ago. It looks like it was hit with turbulence right from the get-go. Have you seen anything like this before? And does this interfere with any desire to govern properly?
What makes you wonder is what advice is the president getting? And perhaps even more importantly, who is he choosing to listen to? Or is he operating a lot on his own instincts? He certainly did that a lot as a campaigner. And we've seen this very, disruptive figure as a politician come into office on the promise of change. But what we're all watching for now is how is he adapting to governing? And is this just a clumsy, ill-timed move that, for the sake of appearances, does not look good for the White House? Or is there something more afoot about trying to sideline an investigation that is looking at members of his own administration? Democrats want to know answers, and it's not going to be something easy for the administration to kind of sideline.
Jim, thank you very much. For sure, this conversation is just beginning, right?
I think so.
Well, the conversation, of course, will continue. That's VOA's national correspondent, Jim Malone, talking to us here in studio. Now,